Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the Douglas Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, January 9th, 2017, at 7 o'clock p.m. First on the agenda is a continuation of a public hearing for 439 Northeast Main Street, 34 and 36 Davis Street. Anybody here for that?
Bruce Williams, here in Allen.
And this is for the JMT Sleepy Hollow
Sleepy Hollow subdivision.
subdivision, yeah.
Okay, we are, sort of an update, we are going through the review procedure with the planning board for earth removal and planning for the subdivision. Part of that, and also together with the conservation filing, an issue arose as to the location of a perennial stream abutting the property. Initially, during the preliminary conceptual stages, the stream was compiled from the Mass GIS website. These abutters, we have not received permission to go onto their property to delineate and locate the riverfront. So initially, we held the Mass GIS website location of the brook. From that laid out our 100 and 200-foot riverfront areas. That was called into question as to its accuracy. So what we've done on this sheet, this heavy red line, is from field locations. Now, they're not flags that were placed on the property. There were field locations of the edge of the bank of the actual brook. The image below is the image from the Douglas GIS website. And that conflicts with the Mass GIS website location, which is why I believe the question began in the first place. So this heavy red line is from the field location. The blue line is shown on the Douglas GIS site. And as you can see, they agree pretty much. So before we can finalize our rating for the subdivision, we have to resolve the location of the riverfront area, because we do have a detention basin in this area. So again, we do not have access to the property, so we can't.
What do you mean by field location?
With the field instrument survey.
Okay, so how'd you do it?
We have instruments that are capable of reflectorless locations, meaning nobody has to hold a target or a prism.
So you're shooting a tree or something?
Right.
So you're doing a bust?
Yes. One of the issues, all of the aerial and satellite photography is useless because there's very heavy pine canopy, and you can't see nothing on the imagery.
And what is the owner name for that? The two parcels?
There's two parcels, Robert Prunier and Brian Prunier.
And what?
Brian Prunier.
Their same last name?
Yes. We sent a
Yeah,
letter
we
to them
received, yeah.
this summer and did not receive a response. So we would like to move on and finish the grading for the subdivision, but we need to have the riverfront.
What do you think happened with the red point that's closer than what the GIS says? Is it an overflow? As far as you're shooting that bank and you're right on the property line, so you can
there,
see
right?
it.
Yeah. Right. The blue line on this is the image from the Douglas GIS.
Yeah.
The red line is from the field location.
Correct.
This pink line is our property line.
Yeah, so what do you think happened right there for the discrepancy?
Why is there
Is it an overflow?
Why is there a
No.
difference?
No,
The middle.
Right
Oh,
there,
here.
Yeah.
54.
I don't know.
So you could probably see it, right?
I don't know where the information for the Douglas GIS came from. I have no idea.
Oh, it's all. It goes
Is this
back to the original.
satisfactory?
Well, it goes back to the original premise months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
You have to comply with the Wetland Protection Act.
Yes.
So we requested information on how are you going to comply with how how is the delineation gonna comply with the Wetland Protection Act?
Okay.
That's what the commission has to go by. So, if they can't, I mean, I'm sure they figured out what your worst-case scenario would be. What worst-case, you could make it a determination up into your property line.
Right, well, this,
You can
the
call your property
portion
line.
the portion that's closest to her,
Worst case, even though you can stand on your property line and say,
Oh,
for the sake of
that's-
argument,
Right.
we'll call this the riverfront, even though it's not there, and design everything outside of it.
well, this
Knowing
this
that
area,
if someone appealed it, you would be, well, we know that's not riverfront. Some, you must have gone through those discussions.
right, this red line, which we've shown as riverfront area, is at the toe of the slope of this hill. So it's very unlikely that it extends towards the locust site any more than is shown here.
Like
And
we
it
said,
is-
Judy Smith, who is now the DEP Regional Director of
Yeah.
Wetland, flagged this wetland parts
Right.
of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you got an opinion from her on what to do on this type of scenario, or opinion from DEP on what is the proper procedure for proceeding when it comes to filing with the commission?
We are presenting the best information that we have.
Right, but
That's
did you,
a field location.
did you, I think the commission
We had
requested
requested feedback the last meeting.
feedback from either your wetland
Art.
Art Allen, your representative, or the DEP on what would be the proper procedure on moving forward.
I was not aware that you requested that. I'm filling in for Norman, who's on a beach in Aruba right now.
Yeah, you're a little taller than him. Yeah, I think we need to sort that out before we do any other planning,
Okay.
so that you would know also.
So are you looking from, something from?
That this is
our consultant?
acceptable. Well, either way, yeah.
Because you could always just pick your property line, not the slope, but right, your property line. Because you have access to your property line.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying worst case. You know that for sure. That's not the river.
Well, right.
That's not the bank.
Our property line is about 30, 40 feet above this. So,
Right, I think that if that's, you write a letter to that effect and somebody else agrees with you, I think that's,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, you get some, you have to comply with the Wetland Protection Act, so, there's regulations on delineating a resource area.
but there's no mechanism in the regulations for us for right of entry on somebody else's
Well, that's why we
property.
asked that you contact the DEP and get clarification on what do you do in the situation.
And you'd like a letter to that effect from the E DEP?
I mean, Judy's familiar with the property, so she would probably be one of the best ones to
Right.
bounce it off of.
So we need that for the
Well,
Yeah.
either that, or how do you want the commissioner to approve the delineation?
How would you approve it otherwise if there's not, flags on the ground? You're gonna see the same information that we present to you. That's a field instrument location of the edge of the brook.
I don't think we've ever come across that
No,
situation.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, again,
You're-
there's
you're a test
regulations
subject.
to protect the wetlands, but there's no mechanism for us to identify them.
That's correct, yeah, and we've never run across that.
Right, and
We've always been allowed to go on other people's
Right,
property
right.
or
So, I
the
guess what,
applicant has.
I mean, the commission, whatever you're proposing, put it in writing, let them look at it.
Put the what? Put the what in?
I don't know, it's up to the commission, put whatever you want them to do, have them put it in writing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need a statement from either person that this is acceptable. The field instrument survey is acceptable. Judy's gonna know right away when she looks at it. She'll know.
So ask Judy, is what you're
Show
saying.
her.
I would prefer that, but Art's fine too. just, verifying that. So who did the field?
Well, our field
Instrument.
group. Our
Okay,
field group.
so Art wasn't there shooting the trees for the, so I think we need,
There was a wetland scientist.
clarification of the method.
There
So
wasn't
did
a
they shoot it at the
wetland scientist.
toe? Did they shoot it at the last tree on the bank?
Right.
Just a
It-
clarification.
It varies.
This is a piece of
because-
paper. Yeah, well, we need varies. We need some explanation. You gotta help us out here.
Yeah.
We're in trouble. Or you pick the property line, like Steve says. And that's, you're definitely safe.
Yep.
And will it really change anything? Cause you're gonna be within the riverfront anyway.
So it's just,
What?
Well, I would back up on that. I mean, I would pick the property line if you're gonna stay out of the riverfront completely.
What do you mean?
But you pick
200
the-
foot?
Yeah.
200 foot from the
property
property line, you got your detention pond there.
Well, is it within the 200
Yeah.
feet? Right.
They've got lots of stuff going on there.
well, the current grading proposal for this area is the detention basin only, which will be outside of this inner riparian. It will all be within the outer riparian of that line. There'll be no residential development either side in the riverfront. It's the basin only,
So you've got 30 feet about
30.
within, you know, if you pick the boundary line.
Yeah, I would
A
pick-
30-foot difference.
Yeah.
I would pick the boundary if you're gonna stay completely out of the riverfront.
What do you mean if you're
Yeah,
staying
it is.
outside the riverfront? It's 100 and
Yeah.
then 200.
If there was no.
So you're
wor-
200 for
if-
riverfront
not.
area.
They're
If
within
not,
the
so he's gonna-
200.
He's gonna have to locate the stream, because you need to know how close to the stream you are. Once you're in the riverfront.
Well, I guess if they're using the property boundary as
The street.
their stream,
And,
their
and it-
surrogate for the stream, then everything's conservative at that point, because you know the stream's at least a foot farther away. So it's a conservative, the boundary marker is absolutely foolproof,
Because
because,
the boundary is a starting point.
because that's the most conservative estimate you can possibly use. So if they do that, I don't see where we have any argument. But them trying to estimate, now we have an issue because we are legally bound to know where the river is. So you put us in a pickle if you try to estimate, but if you use the property boundary, we're all happy because it's as conservative, it's a very conservative estimate at that point, we're protected.
I don't understand that reasoning, because why is it assumed that the river is not on our property,
Is what?
is not on our property?
Because you can walk your own property boundary and know that
And
there's no
flag
river
it.
there. You are certain that the river's not on your property. You know it's on that other property. You just can't tell me exactly where it is on that other property.
For instance, in this location, that's only,
Right, but you can stand on that pink line. Are you standing in a river?
the pink line does not exist on the ground.
Yeah, I know. You know what I mean. You can stand at your best approximation using a GIS handheld and tell me whether you're standing in the middle of a river or not.
Does a river cross your property?
No.
They need to-
Well,
they need to
there
run
you
the
are.
wire from somewhere.
Then you can call that the boundary line of your properties, the riverfront, the river itself, and go from there.
We're just saying that that is
200
your
feet.
easy way out of this situation because it's conservative. We certainly know that that's not actually the river, but it's conservative, which means we've done our duty in terms of protecting the riverfront. If you want to make an estimate, then you're going to have to really establish that your estimate is valid and accurate.
And according to the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act.
And
So
that's
I
your
would
choice.
start with Judy, or that's the backup plan. I don't really know, I mean, you've got probably the roadway is a little bit more in it, but I don't know what the ramifications are
Yeah.
if you push it out.
Exactly. If it doesn't
So, I
botch
mean,
your
what is it,
detention
30
pond, then you
feet,
might as
right?
well go with
Yeah.
the easy answer. If it botches your plans, then I can acknowledge the fact that you want to go the other route, you know?
But it wouldn't hurt to draw one up and see, right?
Yeah, see what makes your life easier.
With this layout. The only work that is going to take place in the riverfront is the basin. A basin is exempt from riverfront alteration square footage.
Okay.
It is?
Yes, all structural BMPs are exempt from riverfront
See, just
alteration.
let us know
Where that is in the
where that is
regs?
in the
Yeah.
Wetlands Protection Act.
Again, that's,
Okay,
Section 10.57?
Well, it's not a limited project.
I have the regulation.
I know, 1053 would be limited project, but 1053-3E, subsection
1057.
E, what's that?
I thought it was 57 for riverfront activities.
It's 1057 and 8, right. I don't know if there's any exemptions.
Maybe start with Judy, she may be able to satisfy
Okay,
the board.
I will pass those regs.
Yeah,
on
that'd be
to you.
great. Ultimately, you have to meet the Wetlands Protection Act, so. And I haven't seen this in 16, 17 years.
Right, right.
Do we have the owners here?
Hmm?
Are the owners here? You know?
I don't know. Okay,
Do you have
so
anything
we-
else for us?
Yeah,
She might have some experience with a situation like this where people won't let you on the property,
Yeah,
you
Judy.
know? Judy might, or the
But
other
it-
guy.
But it's not just, what about the BBW?
The bank for the brook is at the toe of the slope, and the slope goes up,
But it's not on your,
is 2 to 1.
it's not on your property,
Correct,
and it's not flagged.
correct.
So it's the same as the property line, the
So that's a little different.
Well, a BVW, the buffer is 100 feet.
No, but how'd you locate the BBW?
There is no BVW. The edge of the bank goes straight up the hill.
No, there is BBW associated with the stream.
Yes, down here further where we do have BVW located. It's this area that we're concerned with, where the brook is at the toe of the slope.
Oh, there's no, okay.
There's no
Yeah,
BVW, it
it's
goes
straight up.
straight up.
Break and
Yeah.
slope?
Yeah.
And this line represents basically the toe of the slope. So if the river was to be 10 feet closer to our property line, it would be flowing uphill 8 feet.
Interesting.
So I guess the resolution is you need a letter from someone.
as to how to proceed when you cannot physically get on another person's property to delineate a riverfront. Or you can use your boundary line, right?
Yeah, unless the BBW extends over on the bottom there.
On the bottom?
Yeah, that area. I see, you've got grading, right? It's shooting up bottom corner.
Yeah,
Right there.
The actual BVW is over here. I turned it off for this plat because there's a lot of
Yeah,
light.
so we wanna see that as
Right.
well, and the associated buffer.
The BVW is actually over here, so there'd be a 100-foot buffer here.
Yeah.
But the 200 riverfront is more restrictive in that area.
Are these, by the way, are you still crossing with the water line?
No,
Oh.
no.
No.
No, that was, the loop was at the request of the town. And since we had issues apparently in the past with the crossing, we are going to abandon the loop.
So what's left in the jurisdiction of the commission? Just
Any
this-
grading as a result of the change with the earth removal planning review?
Could you show us that? Do you have that picture?
No, we are working on that.
Okay.
But we need to get this
All
resolved
right.
before we can finalize that.
So I guess that's it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
All right.
thank you.
That's good.
So we need to continue this.
You wanna ask anybody in the audience?
Yes. Anybody here have any questions? Yes, sir. Could you state your name and your address?
Jeremy Flansburgh, 63 Monroe Street. Madam Chair, I'd just like to, there's always been some confusion if this is a perennial or intermittent stream. I'd like to present to you, first the petition, oh, excuse me, sir, that was presented to the planning board regarding they're trying not to give us a 100-foot buffer zone, and that may fall into that, but once again, the people in town, well, people in the community, the neighborhood, who signed this petition paid to have a scientist do a stream study that shows water flow calculations, and also in that is the report from the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, who did the shocking of the stream to, determine the native brook trout that are there. I just want this board to know that if the catch basin or what he's talking about, the basin is within the 200-foot buffer zone, that may affect the canopy, and of course it's, leaking out warm water into a cold water fishery. So, all the information's right there, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir, your name and
Yeah,
address?
Dennis Mahalik, 415 Northeast Main Street. That little section that's going there where you got a vertical slope, and I grew up in this area, so I know it well. That brook is actually moving towards your boundary line in time. I mean, it eats away at that banking, that's why it's vertical.
Right,
So I just want to point that out to you.
yeah. Well, the material is very sandy.
Yeah, I know, and it washes into the brook all the time.
Right.
It drops. That one spot right in that curve there,
Yep.
if you've seen it, if you looked at it, you could look at it actually, if you say it's vertical.
Right.
So that brook is actually moving towards your boundary line in time. Maybe a couple 100,000 years or so. By that time, it'll be dried out.
It'll be rapids by then.
Anybody else? No. Okay, so we'll continue this till our next meeting, which is in February?
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for 439 Northeast Main Street to February 6th at 7 PM.
Second. Motion been made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Will those be in our next folder, a copy of what was submitted?
This whole thing?
Oh.
Hmm? I don't need a copy.
I don't really get a copy.
I mean, I made
Yeah,
a copy
money
of all of
died.
it, but I'd like to look through it.
Money died. It is.
What year was that?
Huh?
We'll talk about that later.
All
Yeah.
right,
I'll make a motion to continue the next hearing,
we did that.
the next one. Alright.
Oh. The Gilboa?
Yeah, when did you wanna continue to? Whenever. 7:15? I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for 8688 Gilboa Street to February 6th at 7:15.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we've got about 6 minutes.
So we have a gentleman from Cobblestone out here.
Cobblestone? Somebody here? Want to come up?
This one.
I submitted some plans earlier in the week, and I'm looking just to move my,
Well, let's,
Where are
get
you?
your name
Scott Tessier,
for the record.
for the record.
And you have a new home at 19 Cobblestone Lane.
Yep. And we are just starting our construction.
You can put the plan on
Do you
the
want me to
table.
read it?
Move the pens.
So initially, when we presented it, the engineers drew the driveway going this way because the cutout was already on the lot. It's not a granite sidewalk, I think it's actually just asphalt. So we're looking to just come straight instead of coming around due to costs.
So you're in the
So it's
buffer
in
now
the buffer
versus-
now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were outside the buffer for the majority of it.
This already has a order of conditions.
Yeah, he approved it like November.
That was, yeah, back in November.
So do you think it's a minor change? I mean,
Why?
the straw bales are gonna be the same
Yeah, this is the straw bales right here.
Yep.
Even though it's more disturbance.
Oh, they have the 25 on here as well. Okay, so 50 on.
What is this? Is this a drainage, a drainage basin for the, you know what
That was,
kinda-
Drywall?
It's a drainage easement right here.
yeah, that was a drainage, yep.
so what
They
it,
put like a wall, actually.
what is this right here?
That's,
Is that runoff
just
from the?
trees, and that's the actual, it's not like a river or anything, it's more like just vegetation down there.
Okay, is the subdivision draining into there?
I think they
No.
had a wall
Okay.
on the other lot.
It's a crossing.
Okay. Oh, alright.
This is the old gravel pit here on the
Mhm.
picture on the TV.
Is
Yeah,
the-
so where that entrance is, it would
Uh-huh.
just be on the other side of that excavator.
On the right side?
Yeah, we're looking just so we don't have to come and wrap around the house, and that way we could save having a front yard.
So right about here.
Yep.
Okay. Is the erosion control already installed?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is the house built?
No. Nope. The
Are you
only
going with the
thing
same size?
Yes, everything's the exact same.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Minor change.
Is this you?
It's all gonna be cleared
What's that?
anyway.
It's already cleared, I'm
Jacob
sure.
Allen, is that
Yeah.
you?
No, that's not me.
So this is the
Where are you on?
extent of the clearing, right?
Yep, that's all there is. The house is gonna
And
be on
what's
the
the
outside
width of the
that.
driveway proposed?
The width, I think we said. I'm not exactly sure what they put on there.
Well,
It would be the
should-
same width that was here originally. Let's say.
At 1 inch equals
20
20,
feet?
Yep.
Yeah.
so that's about an inch. Randy, what do you think?
Where
I
are
assume
you?
we're getting rid of our pine
Where
tree.
am I there?
What pine?
I'm right here. This
That
lot.
little
I don't
one?
know.
Lot 15A.
Dude, I'm
No, you
looking on
gotta
the
keep
plan.
that. You gotta keep the
There
pine
it is.
tree.
Like-
All I know
Yep.
is that there's a pine tree in the middle of his new driveway.
Yep, it's actually just on the outside of that. Like, where that tree line comes, it's almost even with the tree line, the pine tree.
So you're not cutting that pine?
No, it would
Okay.
be
You're not cutting
just
that
on the
other one?
outside of it.
So that's not this guy?
This one is a big one. It's the
He
only
must,
big
already-
tree.
he must already be gone.
No, it's there. It's the only big tree on the lot.
And that one's staying?
That one's there, yes.
You're just gonna
It's
scoot
stuck.
around it?
What, your
Right,
driveway's
actually, it'd
gonna...
be just on the side of it, basically.
Alright, so
Yeah.
you're really
I don't know
talking
if this
about...
is to scale.
I know, this is making this difficult. You have a driveway
Oh,
going
this
through a
pine tree
tree,
here.
dude.
That tree,
Yeah.
right
Pine
there.
tree.
So right where
I
that
remember
gravel,
that picture, yeah.
right where that
Yeah.
gravel pit is where we're thinking putting the driveway, just coming right on the side of that.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So,
Yeah,
So
I
it's
didn't want to go and
not-
get.
Yeah, so it's
So we're
like
really talking
even
like-
less. Correct.
Yeah, mine was just a little
Should be a little
sketch.
bit more.
yeah, that's the thing
accurate.
to get us to approve
Yeah.
a change, we wanna be sure we know that we all agree on what it is you're proposing.
So the pine tree is staying?
Pine tree will stay.
Oh.
It's gonna be right on the
be
inside of that
saved.
pine
And that
tree.
makes a
Yep.
much more convincing
Still to
argument,
be-
because you're staying
yeah.
on this side
Still to be
of the
saved.
wetlands.
Mhm.
Okay,
All right, board.
Put that into the,
Good.
into
you
the,
want a formal motion?
Yes.
yeah, do it.
Okay, I will make a motion to have a minor plan change be considered for 19 Cobblestone. Is that what your address is?
Yes.
And the 21-inch pine shown on the plan shall be saved, and the driveway will be no wider than 20 feet.
Mhm.
And the driveway will go to the west of that pine tree.
Sure.
Do I hear a second?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know what we're saying, right?
Yep. I'll stay on
If
the
it comes down, you have to replace it,
inside. Okay.
okay? 21 inch, with a 21 inch.
All right.
With a 21 inch.
Is this our plan or yours?
If you want to keep it, it's fine.
Yeah,
I-
we'll
I
keep
have
it.
other copies. All right. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Okay. Oh, we have 7:30. Let's see.
Not on here, is it?
No.
Okay.
Public hearing at 7:30 for 71 Old Farm Road. Scott Shea?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
If you could introduce yourself,
Yep,
please.
my name is Dave Marquardt from Marquardt Associates in Hopkinton. Scott Shea, owner and applicant, 71. This is a continuation from last month. We had a small little, few items that we had talked about that were not shown on the plan from before, have now been indicated, and the board has updated drawings. We had talked about a bulkhead that was not shown, which is now shown on the left-hand side of the property. You wanted a dimension from the closest portion of the house to the wetland, which was 55 feet. We had talked about a porch on pillars, need to be located on the plan, one here.
Sorry, that's
Is our little associate.
Hi.
We talked about a shed to be located. The shed is here. You required additional straw wattles. There used to be bales, they're now wattles around the well. Wattles are now here around the foundation drain, all the way out. You wanted them completed all the way to the road. We had that done. And stockpile area outside the buffer. Wet's here, wet's here. This is the upland area here, stock area is here. You asked for a PIB. The Shades have selected a split rail fence, 16-foot fence, 8-foot opening, 16-foot all the way down, all the way through here, all the way to the chimney. From bulkhead to shed.
And the orange lines are the,
Buffer zone.
from
The
wetlands are over here somewhere?
Wetlands are right here in the green.
What's the blue line?
Blue was an old intermittent stream. So the color code matches your regulations.
I don't have my glasses, so I'm gonna shimmy
Sure,
down here a little
yep.
bit.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's just, this is a pretty
really
steep
odd.
slope, is that right? I can't read the numbers very well, but is this a pretty steep slope?
It
Or
is,
is it-
yep, our septic system is here.
Yeah,
With
no,
our
I'm
retaining
interested
wall
in
here.
this.
Yep.
I'm interested in the amount. The fence ends here, and so
Mhm.
I'm just considering about whether there would be any creep over here, lawn creep over here. If this is really steep, then I don't have any worries about it, because no one's gonna drive
Are
their
you
lawnmower down
planning to
that.
revegetate, or is that gonna be lawn?
On the back side of the retaining wall,
Yeah.
I don't really think it's gonna be a yard
Okay,
over there for
yeah, I
my
don't
daughter to
think
be
so.
playing on that
Right.
hill. No.
Yeah,
And that area gets kind of
So
dangerous
that
because
slope
it
would be the same as that slope there.
falls off over there. So
Okay.
So that would be the flat part.
yeah, I think it's a revegetate.
Mhm.
And we have a copy of this plan?
You have three, yeah.
Okay.
Right here on the file cabinet.
Is that all the questions you had? Oh, boy. The DEP number, we have, think we're all set? No?
No problems.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'll move that we close the public hearing and issue an order of conditions for 71 Old Farm Road.
Second.
motion been made and seconded. Were there any butters here, by the way? No? Okay. And, all in favor? Aye. Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So they have 21 days to write the order.
It might be typed up, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll probably sign it.
So call Maria, our secretary, and
Okay.
she'll let you know if it's ready.
They'll
That's something
mail
I just have to drop off at
the
the registry of deeds like I did to close out the old order last month.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
And then you get the recording information back to them.
yeah, I did that last month as well.
And when you're all finished your project, you get a request for a certificate of compliance, and then
Okay.
we can get
So I need to
that.
see you guys again at the end when
Right.
everything's right when we're about to turn the key.
Yeah, make
pretty
sure
much.
you do that.
Okay.
Stabilize,
Because if
when
you
everything's
go to
stabilized.
sell or refinance,
Mhm.
lawyer, they'll be picked up on a title search and they won't close. It usually happens the day before you close and the commission's meeting's up for a month.
Okay. Oh, thanks for the tips. I've never done this before, so I want to make sure.
The project's all set, it's best just to get that off your registry of deeds.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Should we do 208U?
Sure.
Karen? Okay, I had gone out, this for 208U.
Yeah.
GBI's, and I noticed that they had put in the pipe. We have some pictures. And the water was going under the pipe and out the side, underneath it. So
Are those the pictures of?
That's before, that was Linda's picture.
Okay.
Yes.
And then when I went out, it was going through the pipe.
Right.
So show the one picture of
After
the,
that, after.
I think someone jumped
Go
on
ahead,
the
Linda.
pipe.
show the picture of the entrance of the pipe on this one. Let's see. Find one. Yep, there it is. That's what was going, now that's supposed to be embedded,
Right. Bless
but
you.
it wasn't.
Right.
I
No,
mean, the
it was not.
water was stopping right where you see the end there.
Right.
And it was a pretty good puddle in front of it. So, and nothing was coming out the other end, and I happened to walk to show some more of my pictures there. Maybe back, I think.
So which one's
Yeah,
yours?
so the water was coming out under the pipe.
Under the
and
stone, right?
Under the stone.
Ah, okay.
Because the pipe was sitting on top of riprap.
came out, she
It was
came
acting
out,
like a French
I
drain,
came
the
out
water
with
was
her.
going under the pipe.
Right.
So,
So I got a
I
phone
was saying,
call.
boy, the water's
Sorry.
they did a nice job. I
got
was
Karen's
thinking,
number,
they did a nice job from
and
the pipe there.
she happened to be in that day.
I haven't
Then I
been.
got-
And so she came out to the site with me, and she saw what I saw, and they did lower the pipe.
Yeah.
And so if you got more pictures, Steve.
Yeah, I'll show you the pictures. Came out and then,
Sure you got the
Yeah,
right folder?
that was it.
That was the house up
Yeah.
the street.
oh,
Yeah.
wrong photo, crossing here. So, the first part of it is blurry. My son takes I have my good camera, and he puts it on manual, because he knows how to use it. And then halfway through, I realized I better put it on auto.
Because otherwise, we would have told you to get your eyes checked.
And
Well, I
just
was
to
on
let you
my-
know, that's the replication area, and they hit high groundwater. And the water is just, there's a stream now coming out.
Yeah, they should probably
of
fill
one
that
end.
back up with your subsoil.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what standards are when you expose high groundwater
Well,
like
I would
that.
fill it back in.
Yeah.
At least you know where it is. You can see this, right? Fill it back in the spring and get right below the level.
Yep.
So it's always
It'd be the
moist.
most accurate replication area ever.
It should grow.
Well, it will
They should
be
grow.
wet,
It will be.
Yeah.
It'll work.
but that's, the high, see how high the pipe rides? I mean, they're gonna have to build up quite a
Yes.
few feet in order to cross that and not crush the pipe. I mean, they've gotta get cement
But
mixes
that's the,
across that.
that's the non-embedded pipe, right?
Correct.
So that should be, that's gonna be lower anyway.
Well, this one
Yes.
changed. Was this one lowered? So,
Well, no, that's the lowered. That's it.
What?
did you
They-
lower,
that's-
did you lower it that day when you met Linda?
They lowered it the day after.
The day after?
Yes.
The
It was
wa-
late in the afternoon when I met Linda out there.
This is the next day.
So the water is coming through it now.
Yes.
At a very little trickle, but it's still up, it's just sitting on top of the.
It's at the elevation that was supposed to be in placed, so I went out there and checked it today.
Well, the entrance of the pipe is not embedded, it's just,
When have you been out? When's the last time you saw it?
This-
Saturday morning.
This is Saturday, me and Linda went outside, so this is Saturday.
So when did they quote-unquote fix it?
The day before.
The day
Friday. And
this
so
is-
you guys went Saturday and it's still not embedded?
Correct. It's a little bit lower, so enough so the water trickles through,
Why
but
does
it's
it look-
not embedded. That's it.
That's it.
Embedded is
that's
supposed to
embedded.
include substrate throughout the pipe.
You can't get soil
Well,
in there.
I mean, that's a long, I don't remember what we exactly said we wanted them to do at the final meeting.
Embedded with substrate. Yeah, I mean, that was our conversation about if you can't do an open bottom, then make it embedded, and the substrate is essential for wildlife passage to utilize it. They're not gonna, lots of wildlife have been shown not to be willing to walk through corrugated pipe.
It'll fill in all by itself. You can't fill in a pipe
But it's not,
that
but
long.
that would be, and I would agree with you if it were working, but it's not actually functioning.
But it is functioning right now. If you went out
That's
there
an
today,
acceptable flow
it's
rate?
Yeah, it's not a huge flow coming out of there. To begin with, it's not a huge flow to begin with. Do you remember walking it and there was no water coming down it?
Yeah, but I don't remember what time of year that was.
So I went out
That
there
was during
today.
drought last
Yeah.
And so I went out there today and I took some pictures. And
Okay.
of course, it was snow on the
8
ground. So,
inches?
yeah, 8 inches of snow on the ground. So, yeah.
We got a lot of white.
Okay, so this is the end of the pipe.
They all look the
This is your
same.
Yeah, I'm not quite
beginning-
sure what to do with this.
This is your beginning of the pipe.
That's
I
better.
believe. Some more.
This looks like. Is this the
They're
beginning of
tough,
the end
yeah,
or something?
they're real tough to see which
day
one's
was
the one. This one would be the beginning of the pipe again.
No, that wasn't
No,
Saturday.
you went out on Saturday.
We went out just before the snow.
My God.
It
Yeah.
started snowing at
Okay,
exactly
kudos.
11 o'clock.
I mean, we were fighting treacherous conditions.
I
Yeah.
tell ya.
Treacherous.
Who's one of you down the
Start till
pipe?
what?
It was 11
7:30,
o'clock the snow
11?
started.
11?
I'd already done my 4-mile walk.
And what was this like the next day? Was this like,
No,
Well,
that was
Sunday?
today. That's the
Today.
end of the pipe.
I was on the
And as you see, I went out there, my little transit.
all right,
Due diligence.
nice.
No, I don't drink.
Due
Oh,
diligence.
good.
He's not on Friday.
So they have sunk the pipe to the elevation that was on the plan.
Is there, can you go back a slide or two where you can actually see the pipe itself?
Sorry. Oh, the pipe?
I mean, yeah, it almost looks like, is it going uphill there or coming down?
Down.
That's going down.
Plenty of pitch.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the water is no
Plenty of
longer
pitch, you could
going
go.
under the pipe.
No.
We did check that out.
Good.
Yeah.
Today,
All right.
you know?
Yeah.
But it's, I think it could be lower, but that's my opinion. And as far as, how much more are you going to be covering this pipe? And the original proposal was for gabions, which is that wire mesh with rocks in it,
Yeah.
instead of those cement blocks.
Right, they were not to be located, and especially in the amount that we needed them in.
Now, they're going to be a row of them for about 100 feet, start to, beginning to end.
Yeah, right down that wall, there's a good portion of them going down that side of the wall.
whole, as far as you can see, there's gonna be gabions. Now, they're gonna be stacked too high. That's only one high. There's nothing going to be able to traverse that.
I don't think they're all gonna be stacked too high going down there. Only at
I
the
don't know.
crossing, they're high, they're
That's our
higher at the
question.
crossing. They're higher at the crossing, okay? And they fade off as they go down the stretch by the stone wall.
Well, it depends how much fill you are putting in, and are you gonna go down and then up? I mean,
Can you show
No,
me
they're
where they are
pretty
in
much,
here?
yeah.
because I really didn't think that was gonna be that
Okay,
much
so
fill.
they start here,
Mm-hmm.
and they go down to right here. So they only run up to here.
Both
And
sides?
then this side starts here, and it runs to here. So there's not, I wouldn't say 100, maybe 50 feet on each side.
Well, I'm less worried about that if it if the pipe is functioning as an embedded pipe, then I'm not really so worried about that.
What do you consider functioning? Just the water going through?
Well, with enough water and at least enough flow to carry some of the sediment down with it, yeah. Then I'm not so worried about anything going over, because it doesn't, because the extent of whatever you call those things, stops here, and we've got all this wet area here,
Right.
so the potential for any of that, so that doesn't worry me.
So, maybe
Go
this
ahead,
is
Mike.
what you're talking about, but what's gonna actually cover the top of the pipe
Gravel.
at the crossing?
At the crossing, where the concrete is, they're gonna form that and pour that over the pipe.
Oh, for
So
the
they'll-
cover?
right.
How much?
Then they'll
cover?
add to the level, so you're looking at the beginning of the pipe. So at that level, they're gonna fill with concrete over that pipe to the level of the first level of blocks right there.
Is this, you're not going any higher than this, are you?
Yes,
You put another level of blocks on here?
yes,
How many, really?
yes.
Well, they've gotta,
Yeah, I
'cause
gotta go put cover over that pipe. So
lot
they,
of them.
so they're gonna
With the
pour,
pipe.
they're pouring over that pipe right now to the elevation of the top of those concrete blocks right now. At that point, they'll start stacking the blocks on top of each other. Now they can put a block on top of the pipe because they've covered it over with with concrete. And then they'll fill in the middle with gravel. And the same thing on the other side.
So I hope your pipe's in correctly.
So there'll
Well,
be a-
that's why I went out there today.
That's what come spring, or after this
good.
next rainfall, we'll
I
know.
don't have an issue with the blocks over paving, it's
Yeah.
a structural thing. I think that's probably, blocks are structurally sound, but
As long as the cover is not going to be higher than the next row of concrete blocks, because then it's all just gonna wash over the edges. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be the same.
they're using the blocks also as a little guardrail or curbing.
Not if it's to the level of the blocks, the road cover.
I don't think we're using the blocks as like a curbing,
Oh,
no.
okay. Just wanna,
So it'll be pretty much flush.
what, you got a guardrail?
No, I don't have a guardrail on there.
It's gonna skate across.
Woo, one icy winter day, yikes.
Scenario.
All right, and,
So, do I understand this? There's no cover on part of the pipe that's gonna be driven over?
There'll be cover on it.
Will it be concrete cover,
No,
barrier? But,
on the
you
ends
talked
there will
about,
be.
yeah, on the ends will be concrete.
Right, to stack the other blocks on top of that.
Okay, and then that will be filled in with gravel.
Yes, in between them. Will be filled in with gravel,
So gravel on top of the pipe
yes.
and trucks on top of the gravel.
Would it be more cost effective to
Yes,
lower the
there'll
pipe
be a
and
lot
not
of
do the
gravel on
second
top of
layer
that pipe.
gravel?
Yeah.
about 100%.
I don't know, but it seems like it would be.
So they're gonna have to bring
It's
that,
not more cost effective to just lower the pipe and not have to do a second level of the, whatever those are.
cement blocks.
Yeah.
You'd have to do it anyways. I have to put enough cover over that pipe.
Yeah, so if you sunk it
Halfway.
deeper, but if you sunk it deeper, you don't have to put as much height. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to put two levels of blocks.
How much do you wanna sink it?
Halfway, right? I mean, that's a huge, huge pipe. I mean, you saw that.
And then over time, it'll get filled with a lot of sediment.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you could go too deep, you're right.
That's
No, I was just thinking, wow, that's a lot of work you guys putting in the second row.
A lot of
Jeez.
fill, if they're gonna go flush with it, too.
Yeah, but it's on a drive. I mean, from a wetland perspective, I'm not worried about that, but it's just, wow,
Yeah.
seems like a lot of extra, if it just seems like, if it's just about protecting the pipe, to have to go that whole second layer, wow. Wow.
But it'll be graded as it goes up to the top of that and coming back down again, so it's not, it's gonna look like a kind of like a gentle slope going over and back. It's not gonna be a big hump there.
Okay, satisfied with the pipe location?
Is this a violation? Because it was incorrectly put
No.
in?
No.
I'm just
This
asking.
is a discussion.
Just an
Yeah,
update,
well,
A discussion.
project report.
Discussion.
I figured
It's
I'd
under
better
construction.
contact them before we say, oh, no, you gotta rip it out.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I agree, and I thank you very much, because I
Yeah.
can't be everywhere at the same time.
And
so.
the high the ground water that you exposed, what's the timeline on that instead of leaving it?
Oh,
open?
they're gonna be filling that in.
When?
As
Timeline.
soon as they can get back out there. As soon as they can get back out there, Linda, they've been working on it diligently, so as soon as they can get back out there, they'll fill that in.
Okay, and show my pictures, Steve, again. Sure. In the front towards the street,
Yep,
they cleared more at the entrance of the driveway. So instead of being a straight shot, it's now flared, of course.
it's outside of the buffer.
It is outside of the buffer, but I know if it had been flared, we would have said wrap those straw wattles around, right there. That was not cleared. It's all graded there up to the tree line, and you see the silt fence down there? It's all graded down to there,
Yeah, she's talking like
and it
right
was not.
outside of the buffer, right in here. That's what she's
And
talking.
once that
Probably like this area.
starts washing, it's gonna wash towards the wetland.
Right, so it's not outside the buffer, it's between the 100 and the 50. It's within the buffer zone.
probably me. Or
Yeah,
you.
you're right, it is within the buffer zone.
Or you.
Is it?
But it's not really,
Well, I'm just saying.
we're not using it.
No, but
It just
it's-
happened to be clear of brush.
What's going to
Sediments
happen
moving around over there?
is the water is going to all wash this way, because it's obviously sloping down. And you get a good storm, it's all gonna wash where? Into the wetland. And that's all graded and dug up. There were trees there and brush, and now it's all exposed. And see where the straw wattles are, way down there?
I think so.
Yeah, that's where.
Steve, point out the straw wattles. Way over
Right
there. So, and the wetland is to the left, straight
Yeah,
ahead.
wait, so you're saying that the wattles stop there?
Yes,
What?
as on the plan.
Oh, so if you're gonna clear up here, there had to have been erosion controls.
Right,
But they weren't on the
But-
plan. But, and it wasn't shown that they were gonna clear there.
right.
So I think they need to put straw wattles this way.
We can put a row of straw
Wrap-
wattles there if you
Just
want.
wrap it, just to protect it, even though they've gone
Well,
beyond what's on the plan.
But the road is
well, you
over
guys are
there.
nice to me. In my estimation, this still is a $100 fine for violation because this is not what was approved. That's not what was approved. We are clearing areas without erosion controls, areas that are within the buffer zone. So for me, there needs to be some better communication between you and the people who are on the ground because they're not following. You know what I mean? So for me, that's a $100 violation just to say, it's $100, but it's to say, wake up, people. The communication's gone to hell. You need to get it back under control here. So that would be my motion, is that at this point, between the pipe not being placed the way it was supposed to be, and now we've got clearing in the buffer zone without erosion controls, that's a violation. It's not a big deal, it's a $100 fine, but it wakes everybody up to getting our acts together and sticking to the plan.
Is that your motion?
Where
Yes.
is his
The front entrance of the driveway.
driveway's always been there?
No. It was a wooded lot.
Excuse me, it's always been part of the project, part of the
Oh,
plan.
correct, but
Yeah.
not the
I've been-
flare
But not
end.
Yeah,
at
but,
the end
I mean,
she's
how
talking
much-
about.
Here, so there's this much.
My question is, how come we didn't say put wattles down there in the first place?
Because it wasn't supposed to be
Because it
cleared.
was supposed to go this way, and
Driveway, it's gonna be
instead,
cleared.
they cleared this much. So, and in the direction of the
That doesn't
slope.
look that big. Up there, it looks pretty minuscule,
What looks
Right.
minuscule?
the flaring.
Yes, it is, but it could erode into the wetland. And
Yeah,
it
it's
is a
going in the
slope.
wrong direction. It's actually going towards the wetland. It's right where you don't want people to be actually tearing it up, and that's where it is without erosion controls.
Where'd your hatch lines go?
There you go.
So we have a motion on the table to issue a $100 fine, and I will second that motion. Now we can have discussion. Mike, you got anything else?
Yeah, I think we should have, if we wanted the barriers that come down all the way to U Street or whatever, we should have said so. I mean, evidently,
We didn't
was
as
not
the plan
proposed.
was written, but now as the work is done, it requires it. As the plan was written, we didn't need it because they were heading away from the wetland.
It was
Now
far
they're
enough
moving
away,
towards
and it
the
was
wetland.
wooded, but now they've cleared, that's gonna be 50, 75 feet of clearing, lengthwise, towards that tree, which is just before the silt fence. That was not cleared before.
I don't know, like I said, that doesn't make it look like it flares out all that much.
Well, I'm looking on the plan.
Yeah, I know you are,
Where's
but you
the
just
point?
hashed out a certain area,
Where is the point where
which
your
may be an
cursor is?
exaggeration of that.
She drew the line, I did not.
Whoa,
What's
you're right,
control?
but I didn't survey
Oh.
it, so I
Yeah.
don't really know.
It's true, but I
exactly
remember,
where
I
it
didn't
is.
take liberty with that. I used her line.
That's where it stops.
Okay, so the motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mike?
Hey,
Nay.
Abstain.
it's a bit,
Okay.
I think we're
The
overreacting.
motion passes to issue the $100 fine. Now, do we want them to put straw fence up, or straw wattles,
Oh, now that it's
For
been
that
disturbed.
area?
Absolutely.
And where do we want it? Can we see the map again? How far over do we want it? Straw wattles?
Isn't there a 50-foot buffer line right there that they could, well, we don't want them going that. Yeah, the 50.
Over to the 50?
Because they're here, they're on it
Yeah.
anyways, they're sitting on the 50, you might as well just follow it.
Follow it up to the 50? Okay. Okay, so by consensus, we agree to put up the extra straw wattles.
I don't know, wattles, maybe?
Or is it a
Abstain.
silt fence?
I'm abstaining. I don't know if it was cut or if it was.
Mike, do you think they need
Erosion
If you want
erosion
wattles down
controls?
there, then we should tell them, put wattles down there.
Okay,
I'm just saying we didn't before, and it doesn't look like,
which should
look
be
at this picture, it doesn't look like that.
the minimum, the straw, if the ground's frozen, put the
can't
straw
put the-
wattles
yeah.
up anyway, immediately, because this all may wash on Wednesday.
Yeah, we're getting some warm weather, aren't we?
Yeah. And wet.
All right, is that the end of our discussion?
I think so.
Hopefully, that's everything, right? No more, no more.
I think that'll do it.
Okay,
We'll keep you posted.
thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You want these pictures, or?
No.
Okay. All right, next, sorry to keep you guys waiting, we have a 7:45 public hearing, continuation for 29, 187, and 175 Main Street. Alan G. and Robert, all right, Alan Riley, Robert Hare, and Maribel?
Yeah, Robert and Maribel here.
Oh, okay. And could you introduce yourself?
Okay, Eric Pizzette with Heritage Design Group. I'm here on behalf of Alan Riley, and I also brought Arthur Allen with me this evening.
Good evening.
Our environmental consultant. So, the last time we were here,
Photos.
Oh, give me that, I'll take them. Thanks.
I haven't seen anything.
the last time we were here, I think we spent most of the discussion on the two proposed wetland crossings. Down here at the end of the proposed roadway, that's where most of the work is proposed in the wetland area. And this was the plan from last time showing where we were proposing the replication area. And Steve suggested that we have Art take a look at it and see if there's another area that might be better suited for it. So I got a hold of Art, and you know, he suggested, you know, down near the crossings, in between the crossings somewhere, either on this side or this side of the wetland area. And I came up with this, splitting the replication area into two areas here. It's closer to where the work's being proposed. It's in a less remote location. It's out of the riverfront area now, and it is closer to where the two crossings are proposed here. So that's where we're hoping to put the replication areas now, based on that comment. Another comment Steve had was we needed to flag the bank out at the site. So I'll just turn the page here. What we've done is we've added another sheet to the plan, and besides flagging the bank, I think, Steve, you wanted to see some more detail on the culvert crossing. So what we're going to do with each crossing is show you the crossing on a 40 scale and then on a 10 scale. We'll blow it up and show the footings and the sides of the culvert, and then the retaining walls too. And so now you can see the blue here is the bank that we had flagged on both sides, and then the pink is the head walls for the retaining walls at the crossing. The green is the edge of the wetland, and then the dashed pink line is the edge of the footings. So the last two stream crossings we've done, the footings have been 4 feet wide, and one was a 30-foot wide crossing, and the other one was only an 8-foot wide, but they ended up with 4-foot wide footings on both. So we're expecting that's what we're going to be using on this one. Steve, I know you had a question about trying to maintain the integrity of the bank when we go to install these footings, because as you noted, you know, by the time you go over the width of the footing, you're going to be right next to the edge of the bank. And I discussed that with with Art, and he suggested, what Art suggested is to just show a reconstruction of, a detail for reconstruction of the bank once the culvert is put in, because typically what happens is the banks are destroyed when you go to put in these crossings. So what we're gonna do is, rather than leave the old detail on that shows we're gonna try and save the banks, we're gonna show a detail that has the banks being reconstructed after the culverts have been installed. So, so this is the first crossing for the roadway here. You can see we're able to get the culvert almost squarely over the stream, except right here there's a bend in it. So at this area we're proposing a small relocation of the stream here just to get it going through the culvert. You can see that same stream here, it's in a straight line headed for the culvert, and then it just has a hook in it right here. So we're proposing to just provide a straight bank here that'll bring it right into the culvert. And then from there on, the culvert should be centered right over that stream. And then at the second crossing, same thing here. We have the culvert centered right over the stream. The stream at this point is about 5.5 to 6 feet wide, and then it widens out to around 10 feet here. So, and then this one here, I think we're at around 5 feet. It actually is narrower downstream going through here.
So I did go out, measured all the flags you had.
Okay.
And everything's accurate.
Okay, so
Everything looked
you got up
great.
there before the snow?
Yeah, when you emailed me.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
2 weeks ago.
All right. So, and that, we're gonna show all those, all the bank flags now on the plan too. We located those so you can see where they are in relation to the wetland flags in the crossing. So, that's where we are now.
The only issue, and as you walk the site, and I just took the sheet of the bank flags and I noticed,
Yeah.
that's, the uphill gravel bank, where the road is going.
Yeah.
Is the profile of the road climbing that hill, or are you gonna be cutting into the bank on the other side?
I think I have a profile with me here.
So as you walk, when you walk out there, my only concern is, you're flat, and then it goes up like this, and then you're crossing the wetlands, and is the road going with the contour, or are you
Yeah.
gonna have a huge grade where you're cutting?
It's gonna go, here's the road coming in. We come off of Main Street here, we go up, and then we go down. Right here is our wetland, the stream crossing here. And actually, we hit bottom before that stream crossing with the low point in our road. The stream is gonna be about 12 feet below the roadway at this point. The culvert's gonna be 6 feet high, and then we got 6 feet of cover over the culvert to get our utilities across it. So, and then from there, it's gonna keep heading up.
So you're going up. So they won't. So basically, my only concern was the side slope of the roadway
Oh,
that's towards the stream.
yeah, the grading.
What kind of construction and protocols for making? How much of a cut is that?
So the grading, yeah, that's why we have the retaining wall.
Oh, you have a retaining wall there.
Yeah, we have a retaining wall right in through here.
So as you keep going up to the cul-de-sac,
Yep,
on the grade on the downhill side, right? That grade right there. Continue along that right side of the road.
yep.
Is there a lot of cutting in there, or is that just gonna
No,
follow the
right-
contour?
Right in here, we're almost at grade.
Okay, good.
So,
So
yeah,
you-
we tried to keep it
So
that
you're
way.
going right up the hill.
Yep, yep. So we'll be up, and then we're gonna be right at grade here, and then we're gonna have a cut around the end of the cul-de-sac, but right in through here, we're.
Because right where that yellow is, on the orange with the replication, if you climb up that hill, what is it, about 40, 50 feet straight up?
Right here?
Yeah, all the way to the top of the gravel.
Oh, up here,
No, the other side.
over here.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So right here.
Yeah, so you're at 4.
So right here, this top of this hill, from here up to here, isn't it big here on top, or is it this hill here maybe I'm looking at?
Yeah, maybe
Is that
this
the
one
top of
here.
the hill?
'Cause this,
Okay.
yeah, this one isn't too high here. This
Oh,
one's
so you're
about.
stopping right here.
Yeah, yeah, it's about 25 feet up to here, but,
Okay.
yeah, if you go up to here,
Okay, yeah,
And
when you
then you're gonna
walk
be
up,
up
there's
a
a
ladder.
trail up here where you overlook the entire area. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was a little deceiving in the woods.
yeah.
Okay.
Good. So, So we haven't got the plans completed yet. We're working on some revisions for the planning board still. And then, once we get their revisions, we're trying to wrap it all up into one set of revisions. And then we'll forward the plans to both the planning board and the Conservation Commission. We still will need, in the future, a separate crossing for the water line, which will be, it's gonna connect over to Brookside Drive here. It's only gonna be a temporary disturbance through this wetland here. And that's gonna be through the water department. I mentioned it at the last meeting, and I know we've talked to the planning board about it, and there's still some discussion about exactly how we're gonna get it from Brookside Drive onto our property through the land. There's a strip of land through here. So, but I know it's in the works to have the water line looped from the end of our project out to Brookside Drive here. So, like I say, that'll be another filing in the future with the water department.
I'm not sure if you have the detail. When you have a lot of crossings like this, the only issue is obviously you're gonna try and do it when the stream is dry.
Yes.
But sometimes that doesn't always happen during construction. So is there protocols, like the duration of how long it takes to construct it, and then if there's a flow in the stream, are you gonna be dewatering and pumping it around, or?
Yeah, we were gonna limit it to a certain period of the year. Art, is that typical?
The Army Corps actually only allows work in open flowing streams in the dry season. So
Okay.
I mean, we'd have to file separately with the Army Corps if we wanted to work outside of the dry
No,
season.
but so say it's between June 15th and September 15th, and say it's August and you're working, you
Yeah,
get a
it's-
2-inch rainstorm and there's flow in it.
Right,
So
right.
and it's all gravel, what's your contingency if that happens?
Yeah, they would have to, we need to have a plan in place for, for damming it off and.
Just for that first flush of
Yep.
rainfall, where it's probably gonna flow just during the rainstorm.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, we'd need to have, check dams and a
Right.
pumping system in place for contingencies, yeah.
The length of time for construction, what do you anticipate for each one?
It's gonna be, I would say the larger one is probably gonna be 4 months. It's gonna, because there's the retaining wall that's part of it. So it's gonna be the construction of the culvert itself with the retaining wall, I would think.
Sometimes if they have rooms, they put sheathing in, and
Yeah.
you don't touch the bank, then you put the sheathing in along the bank, or you sandbag it, and whatever your system is, so if you do get a rainstorm, the bank itself isn't disturbed.
Right.
Yeah, to have that shut off.
Or you're gonna
for
come in
4
and
months.
dig the whole thing up, like it's one big, destroy the entire bank.
amount of time you have.
The construction guy might come in and say, he might wanna dig, an 8-foot box,
Yeah.
dig it all up, and it's all flat, and he's gonna reconstruct the bank, and between that time, it rains.
And one thing I've seen them do, if they do have to disturb the bank temporarily during construction, is to actually run a pipe right through the, right through the construction site, a temporary
Right.
pipe, yeah.
So whatever
Would be
the method
fine.
would be,
We'd have to have that on the
well, it's
plan.
best to
Right.
have, think
We'd like to
about it
have
now
it.
than the day it rains.
Yeah, we
A
should,
protocol, construction phasing,
yep, think that through now, exactly.
timeline.
Okay. Yeah, we did have, we had that on the original plan, but we'll go through it again to make sure that it's gonna work with what we're proposing
Yeah.
now.
Because you had the design by others.
Well, the guys, the crossing guys are waiting for the piping and the utility guys to get the stuff through the crossing, and
Right.
so before you know it, takes them 2 months to do the crossing.
Yeah, the actual culvert could go in quicker, it's just, I'm just thinking to complete the walls and all the work that goes along with it.
So
Yeah, like Steve said, just to make sure that the stream can flow through there,
Right.
or, there's a.
So you're not
contingent
waiting,
for
because
it.
it's happened so many times where
Yeah.
the guys, something happens, so the utilities are going in the wall. Do you have water and sewer, or just water?
Water, sewer, and
So you
drainage.
get 10-foot separation between the two?
Yeah, yep.
And how's that going when you got a culvert?
It's going over the culvert, you said.
Yeah, it's all going over the top of the culvert. So the culvert will go in first.
So you get 10 foot between water and sewer, and they're both going over the culvert?
Yep.
and they're deep enough so they don't get frozen?
Yep,
Yeah, you said you get 6 foot of cover over the culvert.
yeah, we only need 5 over the water line,
Right.
so it'll be close to the top.
How about areas like stockpile areas for the,
Yep,
Grading.
materials. Yeah, we can,
do you have that addressed?
we have enough room, you know, outside the buffer zone here. We could designate this as our stockpile area.
We'd like to
through
see
here.
that on a plan.
Okay, we'll add that on there.
For every crossing you're doing, and also bonding for the crossings and replication areas has to be submitted before anything, cutting, grading, it has to be posted.
Okay.
So you want estimates for that?
Correct.
right? Yeah.
And you can call Steve to see how he wants that done. And the replication area, what do you have proposed to be planted? And does the board like the idea of the change? Yeah.
We had, let's see, for the saplings, we had red maple and yellow birch. And the shrubs, we had sweet pepper bush, high bush blueberry, and winterberry. And then, for the soil stabilization, we had the New England wet mix. But we can,
Do you have a plot area where it shows the trees, shrubs?
You haven't done a detail yet, have you? of
no, not,
Planting detail?
no, but we
We'll
can,
need that.
okay, so
You're listing the spacing.
show where each tree goes then?
Yeah.
Actually show the location of each tree and shrub? Okay.
And then, you know, maybe the protocol, you're gonna do one, so you don't cross that intermittent stream, when you do the first crossing, you do the first replication, and then the second crossing with the second. So they're gonna try and use the soils and stuff from each crossing,
Yeah, I think
we'll try to do it at the same time,
we're
or,
probably gonna have to import wetland soil,
alright,
so, yeah, it'd be better to do them both at the same time, but I can see what you're saying, you know, we're gonna be on this side, and then we're gonna have to come around from this way to get to this one.
Because we like to see the replication area done pretty much immediately, the
Yeah.
restoration.
Yep,
And the
And
second
that
one,
way-
they're gonna have to cross at least temporarily to access it, so.
Mhm.
okay, yeah, if we can get a temporary crossing, for that, just to get the replication area done, and we can get those in ahead of the actual crossing.
I mean, you could clear that and do timber mats or something as part of your construction sequence to access that second crossing.
So the only way to get to this replication area is through here.
Right.
Yeah, or we could come in this way. Might be a little less disturbance, because this is a real tiny stream in
it's
through
more of a
here.
gully than
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so it might be better if we just cross here, do this one, and then cross over through here and do this one.
Is there any more room to just make the top one
This-
bigger?
Make this one bigger?
Right to the left,
You
going
mean
up?
move this up?
Well, extend what they have there up, I can't,
Yeah,
I didn't
okay,
know,
so-
maybe you
yeah,
don't
so
have enough room? or-
Right here.
Yeah, like what if it extended that
We
way?
could, this is, we were planning on putting the house in through here, and then the driveway would come in through here, so if you were okay with having the replication area next to the driveway, I didn't know if there had to be some sort of a setback. But actually, this would work better for us because it's flatter in through here.
Would the replication area swing this way?
or a little of both, maybe a little bit that way and a little bit that way.
Yeah,
Like say
Yeah,
here,
some, yeah.
down?
yeah.
Well, once you start going uphill, you're gonna run into 208 U Street.
Yeah, not too far, but there's only,
Where you're digging a
doesn't
big,
look like there's a lot of slope here.
Right.
And then,
Digging into
and then
deep.
going to here, but
Well, 'cause
maybe
you're going
not
up
get
slope.
right up to the driveway.
better
you
to
know?
go down the flat area.
Okay.
Because I think you make a good point. I mean, yeah, if we can not have it hugging the driveway would be great, but maybe we can avoid having to go and do a temporary crossing altogether if we can merge it into one replication area.
Okay, well, let me
Steve
take a look at it.
had
and see.
mentioned that we'll be cutting into the slope more.
Well, I was saying, so we don't cross all these contour lines. See how there's none here? Not
Mhm.
none, but there's one, two. We're not gonna cut up in this.
So make it swing this way.
Yeah, this way, hug over here.
Yeah.
Which is what you would do anyways, because you wanna hug that
So
wetland.
put this there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll bring it this way a little ways and still try and maintain a separation from the driveway.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. Disturb one area instead of two.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we'll see if we can do that.
Might save you a lot of
All
trouble.
right, what do you
too.
think of that?
No, it's, yeah, I mean, you still have the same proximity to the two crossings, it's, you know, in between the two, so, yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Which way does that stream flow?
This one goes this way and then this one flows this
That
way.
one goes that way.
Down towards the perennial stream.
Yeah.
Any other questions for us? Steve?
Oh, very good.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? No? Okay, well, we've got a little bit of work
Yeah, and
still to do.
we could get a couple more weeks to work on it and then
Sure.
come back with some plans and hopefully we'll have everything ironed out by then.
Are these details, Steve, good enough?
Well, I haven't looked at them, but yeah, they're better than what you had before. You know, it's just,
Well, I'm not better than, is it, can we work with this?
well, you can work with that, yeah, because you know exactly if that's the distance where his footings are going, he knows where the bank is. He's got it, before you didn't know the width of the bank and they were putting footings in. So,
No, I mean for us, for you, when they're putting this in and installing it, is that detailed enough for you to
well, I
say,
think
well,
you
wait a
show the
minute now?
profile of the, if you're gonna show the profile of the footings and the width of the footings and
So we
Yeah,
need
show
more
all that.
detail that way.
the details of how they're constructing it.
Yeah, the actual footings themselves haven't been designed yet,
Right.
because that'll depend on the culvert, whoever manufactures the culvert. But what we can do is, like I say, the last two that we've done, they both had 4-foot wide footings. So I think as long as we just assume it's a 4-foot wide footing, we're gonna be safe.
And then we're gonna show
So-
the planting details in the vegetation.
So are you
Yeah.
going back to the planning board with the, once you find out how you're gonna construct the subdivision?
Yeah, well, the planning board's not interested in seeing this. Bill Cuniff had asked me to take all of this information right off, because this was for the driveway for a single lot. All he cares about is anything that has to do with the road. So, we'll keep that on.
Is he, no, but is he approving, he's approving the culvert to the subdivision without having it shown on the subdivision plan?
Yeah,
You mean the detail?
Well, they don't know how they're constructing, like
Oh.
the type of,
yeah, we've given them enough detail. It's just, the only thing we don't know is who the manufacturer of the culvert is gonna be.
all right,
And without knowing that,
yeah, I'm fine with it, Linda. With the width and everything, and
yeah, the last one we did, we specified a long span. They make these structural plate arches, but there's other manufacturers that do exactly the same thing.
right.
But we spec long span or equal because, you know, we can't say you have to use this vendor. We have to give them all equal opportunity, so.
Okay.
Fine, thanks.
Okay.
So we need to continue this.
Did we check for butters? Did we check for butters or anything?
7:30?
Anybody have anything else before we close this? Okay.
Make
So-
a motion to continue the public hearing for 229-187-175 Main Street to February 6th at 7:30.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks for
coming
your
in.
time.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thank you.
See you, Art.
All right, thanks. We'll try and have the plans to you before that, so you can
Okay,
have a
great.
look at them and go through everything.
And next, we have a public hearing for 22 Northwest Main Street, Warner Homes LLC. Night. Steve's gotta leave at 8:30, so.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I'm feeding fast.
So this is not a continuation, so I need
Brand new
the
now.
ad from the public. Oh, okay. And
Boy, this thing keeps cropping up.
Pretty
Any
sure
changes
we
to it?
When do we
Seems
really
like
need
every
it?
meeting we get that.
do you have the ad for the, that was put in the paper? I need to read that.
I don't have the ad.
Why does this happen? It's always one.
Did you place the ad?
I believe Steve O'Connell, who took care of this,
Believe
placed the
doesn't-
ad, but I don't have proof of it.
And Maria usually prints it out. I found that out. 'Cause this last time we were running into this,
Yeah.
I asked Steve, can he just print them out so we're not doing this every time we meet? And come to find out Maria had been doing it, but she only prints out the ones that she can find.
Yeah. Oh,
you
okay.
know? So, if she can't find it.
Yeah. Let's see who will be faster. They've changed the Wi-Fi in here. Town
So while
guest.
Steve's
No
looking
internet
for that,
connection.
we'll have to wait.
This is password protected.
Yeah, but I used to be hooked in when it was cable or something, Crown Cable. I had the password. Now I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way.
Steve ought to know.
I'll be honest. Let's see if you have lucky.
Is there anything in the file?
No,
Yeah, 'cause
I
it-
went through everything.
I don't see it. Maria, if we get a copy,
Yeah.
she always puts it in the file.
So, we're gonna have to continue this because we can't open a public hearing without reading the ad.
Can you get verification that he placed it?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna check. Did you check?
right here, I got it. You can read it from that.
Oh, you know,
Telegram, Douglas Conservation Commission, 22 Northwest Main.
good job. You're on my public notices. Did you
I'm
use
not,
it?
I just
Are you-
happened to
Telegram?
come up
It's not on
with
public
that.
notices.
Is
It's
it?
on
When was the date?
legal notices.
Was it?
Oh, under classified. Wait, is that an email or is that, you found it on the web?
On the web.
Oh.
Huh.
Classified telegram, yeah. Town Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing for Warner Homes LLC on January 9th, 2017 at 8:00 PM in the Municipal Center at 29 Depot Street for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, MGL 131, Section 40. Proposed work is to be done at 22 Northwest Main Street and involves the construction of a single-family home, septic system, well, and associated earthwork and landscaping within the 100-foot buffer zone.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you could email a copy of that
I will.
to Maria or Steve.
I will.
That way we have it.
Sure. My name is Travis Brown with Andrews Survey and Engineering. I'm here on behalf of Warren Homes for an address of 22 Northwest Main Street, which is Lot 3. For visual purposes, Northwest Main Street is here at the bottom of the page. A proposed driveway, proposed house. The house is just inside the 100-foot buffer. Septic system is completely outside the 100-foot buffer. Our proposed well is here, maintaining offset from the septic system outside of this 50-foot buffer that runs here. We have proposed erosion controls that start here at the street line and run around and up and just out to the 100-foot buffer on this side. We've also proposed erosion controls at the entrance because we're going to be doing some grading for that septic system. The wetlands are here in the back. These have been flagged and staked. I don't know if you got a chance to go.
I didn't see them before, no, but I saw the stubs on them, so I'm assuming you reflagged them to the
Yep.
same location.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was more during construction, so we could see them.
Yeah, so right now they're flagged and the house is staked.
My only, and my comments, the only issue is that other well that you show that's closest.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand, is that for another lot?
It's on the next lot.
And so,
They were all done together, so it showed up on this
so you're
plan.
gonna be putting that well there for the next lot?
Yeah, it has nothing really to do with
Well,
this
my only
plan.
concern was if, I guess, getting to, is it all field?
That is field in this area, but
Right.
that's wooded
Right.
here.
If you don't mind, I don't have my glasses, I'm gonna bring this down for everybody.
I'm like, where's the property line?
Let's do that.
So this is the
So if they could
neighboring property
utilize
line
the
right here?
construction of lot 2, which is mostly clear to that well, to drill it, instead of cutting all the trees just to get to the well.
Well, we can't really address it because it's
Yeah,
not part of this
unfortunately,
filing.
it's, you know,
Oh, he
somebody
doesn't
just
own-
bought this.
Oh, he doesn't own all the lots?
He doesn't,
Oh.
no, he just bought this
Do you
single
usually put a
lot.
second erosion control around the slurry pit?
Yeah. You fit up.
So we'll need one more on.
We need
Okay.
to
And
show
then
that on a
double
plan.
Limit of clearing item.
Did I tell you, I think one of my comments was,
We don't have the comment sheets.
have the, Marie didn't give them to you?
Nope.
The
So we
limit of-
need a slurry pit.
And the limit of clearing should be, the erosion control should be the limit of clearing.
That's right.
Is there a stockpile on here, shown on here?
There's not.
Yeah, 'cause are you thinking you're gonna go into the woods?
No.
Propose clearing to tree line.
Yeah, so basically from that existing tree line, which shows up that
Right
runs
here.
through there, to the erosion control.
Right, so it was a little, it should be the clearing, is the erosion control line, the clearing line?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that should be labeled on the plan.
Limit of clearing.
Yeah, proposed clearing to tree line. I can make it more clear.
You're pointing that that's the limit of clearing, is the tree line.
Where actually it should be this area.
And any
Right.
reason,
I'll make that clear.
any reason for pushing the house way back?
To maintain really separation from that septic system. You have to be 20 feet from that septic system with the house.
I don't know what the rule is about the angle of the distance of the, well, but do you really need to cross into the 50-foot? Can you just move that well to the left?
That well's actually
Can it be
outside of
there?
the 50-foot.
Yeah, this is.
This is
Well,
orange line's the
yeah,
50.
but you need your clearing to cross over there. It would be
I
nice to
can
be able to
move
say
it
the
to
whole thing's out of
take
the
it out of the
50.
50.
And then you've got 33 from the edge of the septic, right?
From the septic, yeah, and we need to stay over that testing area. So this, just a little backstory on this, this was issued an order of conditions by the Douglas Conservation Commission in 2009. The septic has been updated as we've gone, so it's active. The permit, order of conditions has expired.
So you
this is
need a
the same.
certificate of compliance.
Well, no,
that.
no, there's been no work, so however you wanna do that.
Well, we need to
Alright.
close it out.
You gotta just, before the next meeting, request a certificate on the old DEP number.
Sure.
Because you can't have two numbers on, active or not, you can have two open numbers on one lot.
So you're saying this was already approved as it sits, right, at this moment?
Yeah. Septic was different, right?
The septic, no, the septic's unchanged.
It's just been,
That's been
renewed.
taken along and updated. No work was ever started on the lot, so.
Thought it looked familiar.
The common's down here, right? Am I looking at this right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you're coming up Northwest Main.
so the whole entire house is pretty much in the field? So when I'm
Most of it.
looking at this,
Yeah.
Yep.
and what are you proposing for, visual for the, you know, the 50 limit, the limit of clearing for the homeowner, boulders or some kind of indication so that they don't move?
Like a fence,
Yeah.
boulders, some type of barrier so they don't move beyond the 50.
Yeah, I mean, didn't have anything other than they're gonna cut to it, whether it's markers. I don't know if you
You
guys
can
like
Talk
markers.
to your applicant on that.
So you'd like to see something proposed?
Yeah, cause we're at the 50,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's downhill from that. Not really.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
some,
it's very
maybe,
flat slopes though.
so they have to propose it. I
Yeah.
mean, it could be plantings or
Whatever's
boulders.
around, whatever the person wants.
Just wood rail fence.
The problem
Rail
is,
fence.
right, we're doing this for a contractor. I don't, they're trying to do it for somebody that hasn't even bought it yet, so
And
it's
also,
kinda
you get
hard
to make the call.
Wow, yeah.
It's your choice,
And
whatever you
spend their
like,
money, yeah,
you
well,
pick.
that's not how it works, but.
Well, but
I'm sure it's a discussion when you
Yeah, I mean, we
discuss
can
what
have
kind of
the
house you're
discussion.
getting.
I think the boulders seem to work the best. Because
If they find some boulders on the site,
yeah,
not importing boulders.
true.
I mean,
Because
I
some
wouldn't
people
mind that
just
either.
want to say they don't like the fence, they just
Yeah.
take it down,
Yeah,
you know?
I wouldn't mind boulders.
Would you object to signs?
Signs,
Some towns
We
want
don't-
them on the trees, maybe you
Yeah.
don't, or we put them on
No.
posts.
Because signs come down, signs can be pulled down, signs can be ignored. So yeah, signs to me are functionally worthless.
So some type of a non-hand movable,
Yeah,
removable
basically end
barrier. Yeah. Well, if you can find, put, I'm sure somebody's
you
got
did
some.
say about the stockpile
sorry.
area, right?
Yeah,
Doesn't
you're
need
gonna add
stockpile.
stock-
Yeah,
pile
we'll
on
add
there?
a stockpile there.
And then,
The slurry pit.
yeah, fix your note on proposed clearing to tree line.
Pull it out of 50.
Is this the property line or
Yeah.
is this Smith?
No.
So what
that's
happens
the
here? It kind of
residential.
merges with the,
They're saving a little tree.
Yeah, there's a benchmark in that tree.
This is the
oh, it goes
property
this
line.
way. Okay, yeah, you can't see under there. Right,
Oh, they're trying to. save
Yeah.
that, so I don't know.
hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, there might be boulders there. I see some
Yeah, there's a
boulders
nice
at the
stone
front.
wall at the front. We don't wanna take those down.
No.
I don't think
No, you
anybody
don't
would
wanna use those
appreciate
for the,
those. Nobody would appreciate
No.
that.
Scenic road.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so.
maybe there's
We have
some
a continuation
around.
date?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Douglas.
In the ground.
Did we
Yeah.
have a
They
date?
can get them at
Somewhere.
my lot. I live right
This,
up the
the
road.
6th,
Yeah.
okay, continue it to 2/6 at 7:45.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 So would you like me to email that request over? Steve?
Yeah, fill out the paper.
Sure.
To
Request
Maria.
for a certificate.
Put in file.
Thank 'em.
And send the notice from the paper too.
I will do that. Thank you for your
Okay,
time.
thank you.
Thanks.
Next, let's
8:34.
see,
Did you say 9:30 or 8:30?
what are you here for?
Discussion item, North Village extending the permit.
North Brown. Okay,
It's been
they
a
have-
while.
Yes,
Well, I've been good.
yeah, recognize you, it's been so long, I think you got your hair cut or something.
Yeah.
All right, North Brown LLC has requested an extension for 2 years, and Maria has said 1 year or 2? Do we want to?
2 years.
Okay,
Yeah, if they want.
all right, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
to extend it for 2 years till 2019.
Wow, I'll be old then.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 2 years each thing?
Yes.
Is that good?
Thank you.
Perfect, huh?
Best meeting I've been
That
to
was
for a
quick,
while.
that's good.
Wait a while.
Yeah, thanks for waiting.
Don't forget
Thank
your
you.
coat.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll
It's
be
cold
out.
outside.
He'd be back. Okay, so we can start signing, right? Because that's all we got is signing stuff.
Voucher request for certificate of compliance.
Yeah, whatever happened
11
to that one.
Mansley Way.
We'll wait until spring.
Okay. Oh, so did we ask for that to be put on the agenda like in springtime, or
yeah.
we want to keep it on?
I know, I just told her to contact the homeowners, that we're gonna put it on in the springtime.
Okay.
What did Maria buy now? Oh, red and green, go flash drive.
What's this one?
Uh,
The one
That's
we just did, huh?
Yep.
Are these your notes?
What's it for, $1.50?
Not my writing.
Whose writing is that? Not my writing.
Is that your writing?
No.
Your red
No,
pen?
definitely not.
Oh, I don't know. Was it in your packet?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I think it's Steve's.
That doesn't look
Looks like a girl's handwriting.
It does. I
No,
was
it
just
looks
gonna
like a
say.
guy's capitals.
No, that's not my writing.
Well, who? Oh,
Oh,
here we go.
speaking of, hold on, I need to look at which one we're
Somebody
gonna ask
worked-
about.
The Scott Shea we can sign?
Oh, it's Bill.
I was just gonna say,
Conducts,
Bill,
yeah.
I told you it was a guy's caps, it's, you can tell
Yeah.
engineering dudes.
71 Old Farm Road.
Yeah.
He's good.
Did we ever ask Bill to review Gilboa, 8688 Gilboa?
It's a continued because it's in the public safety, having a committee meeting tomorrow or Wednesday on it.
Okay, because I think we also, though, I
I
made a
talked to
request that Bill check for
Bill
the,
and-
for the runoff, the
Yeah.
stormwater runoff.
So, Paul,
Sorry, I
I sent
haven't
an email
signed
to
it.
Paul, CC'd the highway superintendent and the town engineer, all to get together and talk
Okay,
about it. And so
good.
I guess they said he's having a public safety hearing Wednesday on it.
Okay, but will he also consider, will stormwater fall under safety? Because it's,
I'm not-
water on the
I can
road.
double check with Bill. Paul was supposed to get together with him, and I sent an email with all three of them recapping. So I'll send it off
Okey-dokey.
again.
Oh, what's this third one?
The Bowie.
The
Oh, no, Scott
location?
Shea?
Old Farm.
Got it. And then we have minutes.
I
Do
looked
we
them
wanna-
over, but there were a few things, so if you're in a rush, then I'd say let's wait.
All right, yeah, I haven't read them yet.
Yeah, that's right. That's late.
Okay,
Then, motion to adjourn?
Second.
This is quick.
motion been made and seconded, all in favor?